All right, my friends, welcome into the Leaning into Leadership podcast. My guests on the show today, really good friends of mine, Melissa and Bradlee Skinner. Before we get to them, really quick, I want to thank our sponsor for today's episode. This episode is brought to you by Hey Tutor. Hey Tutor partners with school districts across the country to provide high dosage tutoring in both mathematics and English language arts. Their comprehensive approach, including the process of recruiting, training, scheduling, and managing the tutors. Yes, that is right. Hey Tutor does the recruiting, the hiring, the managing, the training. So you, as a leadership team and your teachers, don't have to have that extra thing on your plate. But what they do is really allow educators to focus on what they do best while accelerating student learning. To learn more about Hey Tutor, go to heytutor.com, or better yet, hit the link in the show notes. That'll let them know you heard about them here on the Leaning into Leadership podcast. All right, let's dive into this conversation. Bradlee, Melissa, thank you guys so much for joining me on Leaning into Leadership.
It's our pleasure. Happy to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So just full disclosure, folks, we are sitting in our mutual friend, Dr. Steve Wolf's house in Divide, Colorado. We are all here collectively for the Wild Heart Teacher Retreat. And just had some time. I thought, man, this would be an awesome opportunity to sit down and talk. Bradlee and Melissa have, they've had some interesting things, awesome things happening in their life. And I just thought, hey, let's sit down and have a conversation. But just really fast, the absolute Cliff Note version. Melissa, I'll go to you first, just so our listeners and our folks on YouTube know who you are.
Okay.
Talk a little bit about Melissa.
Educator. I teach fourth grade, and I have learned, education was my second degree in life. I actually did business and theater prior to that. And then I needed a change, and I said, hey, let's go get another degree and get a master's in elementary education. So I am teaching for the last 10 years, and I always say I'm teaching with a degree now. I was teaching beforehand, probably without a degree in education, but that's what I do right now. And I also work in our theater department as the assistant drama coach, mostly focused on state events. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, love it. Bradlee?
25 years in education, teaching theater primarily, as well as English, emphasis in American literature, and recently just left the classroom. And now I am traveling with the Savannah Bananas and the Texas Tailgators baseball teams as their plaza DJ.
Which I think is absolutely incredible. And I definitely want to talk about that today. There are a ton of leadership lessons in what you guys have been transitioning through with you now, leaving the classroom and doing the work with the Savannah Bananas and the Texas Tailgators. I know you're also doing some speaking on the side as well. So plenty of things happening in the Skinner world. And let's go right at the Savannah Bananas piece. So those who have followed you, those who've known you, I mean, I've known you for, I don't even know, 15 years, somewhere in that neighborhood. Know that you've been a DJ for a while. Mm-hmm. Know that the persona of DJ Phony Stark and that kind of stuff. And from an iPod to where you are now, right? Inside joke, folks, if you know, you know. But obviously, I don't necessarily want to go all the way back to like, hey, why DJ? But how do you go from your DJ Phony Stark business is a very successful business? Why the Savannah Bananas? How did that happen?
The funny part is we always say it started with a selfie. In 2024, Melissa and I took a group of students at the start of the school year, just before the first day of school. The Savannah Bananas and the Party Animals were playing a game in Salt Lake City, Utah. So we thought, what a great way to kick off the school year. Let's take some kids, go to a game and just kind of celebrate and then head into the school year. And while we were there, the students were taking photos with the players out on the plaza, and I wanted a selfie with the DJ. So I went and took a picture with DJ JC, and then we connected on socials and just stayed in touch. And then during the school year, we ran what we call Interviews Day, which you were familiar with. We did in Knox Springs. Yeah. And we just would always interview people in specific areas of the industry. And so with this being in my theater class, we wanted to show the students that there's more to entertainment than just being an actor on stage. There's thousands of job opportunities that they could be a part of. One of them even being a DJ for a baseball team. So we interviewed DJ JC. He was talking to my students about what he does and how he got into the business and what it's like working with the Bananas and Banana Ball. And it was just a great conversation. It really opened up, eyes to my students, but to myself as well. And at the end of that conversation, as he said, would you have any more questions? And Tori, one of my students, raises her hand and says, yeah, what would it take to get you to come DJ a dance here in Wyoming? And he's like, I don't know. Let's talk to your teacher. Let's figure it out. And so we did. We decided we'd hold a fundraiser to help some students with summer workshops and travel so they could go to specific events where they were learning more about theater. So we thought this would be a great opportunity. We could have a dance for the community. JC could come in and DJ it, and that would be a great fundraising opportunity. So we got him there, and it was a great response from the community, a lot of fun. And then after that, he messaged me and said, "Hey, we're going to be adding more teams to Banana Ball. You should apply." So I interviewed and had sent in a demo reel and had an opportunity to then kind of my final audition was at Coors Field in Denver, and got to play with the Bananas and the Firefighters, which this week I'm heading to Wrigley Field for the Bananas and the Firefighters again. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
You think about those moments, those real simple things, right? A selfie. Melissa, you talked last night when I listened to the two of you speak about like your students' dots, and I want to ask you more about that in a minute.
Okay.
But the impact that the little moment can have, I mean, the ripple effect. You go and take a selfie with a DJ, and now you're a DJ with the Bananas, and just that ripple effect. And I think as educators, we know this, but sometimes we don't stop and think about those little moments and the impacts they can have. So Melissa, maybe talk a little bit about the dots and
Okay.
tell.
So
You don't have to tell the whole story you told last night, or
Okay.
you can if you want to.
So I will, when I started teaching, I started doing a project with a story called The Dot. And it's a story about a child who doesn't want to paint a picture when the teacher says, just make a dot. And then the teacher says, sign it. So, and it's just, what is the difference you'll make in your world by the things you do, just how it goes. By the end of the story, we read it in the class, and then we make a dot at the beginning of the school year. And then I take those dots after I have everyone sign their dot, and I put them actually on like an easel, because I can't really keep them on the wall if I move classrooms. So I put them on an easel, and they get to see their dot all year long, and then they might come back. Well, I moved classrooms last year, 3rd to 4th grade, and I took all the dots off the wall. It was on a very big easel at the time, and I had to move them to smaller easels, and then I didn't put them up in my new classroom. And about 3/4 of the year through, a student said, "Where's my dot, Mrs. Skinner?" And I was like, they're over here. And then I put them up one weekend, and the kids just were so excited to see their dots again. And they were it was exciting. They're like, "There's my dot, and there's my dot." And then some of my former students came back to visit, and they're like, "Where's my dot?" And so they also looked for their dots. So it's something that I love, that activity. I get to have a portion of them with me even after they moved on. And when they come back, then they get to see their dot. It just makes them part of my life, because they're just in my heart. So I love it. And so we're going to get ready to do dots on the 1st or 2nd day of school as every year. And I'm excited. So, yeah.
And I'm sure you probably, at this point, students coming into your class know about the dot and probably can't wait to do their dot.
I think they are, because now that they've understood, they're excited. I had actually 3 new students, because since I transferred from 3rd to 4th, a lot of those students came with me to the next classroom. And so I had new students. And once those dots went up, they're like, "I don't have a dot, Mrs. Skinner." And so this year I made sure those students who were new to us in our 4th grade level, and it's just not my classroom, it's the whole grade level now, that we put the dots up. And so, and if a student moves away, I hope they come back and I can grab them a dot before they move away again. Because, students move away and sometimes they come back. So we try to make sure I get their dot. Even if they move into my classroom halfway through the year, I try to do it even the first day they're there. "Hey, I need you to make this dot."
Right. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So again, I mean, staying with those little moments, or those little things and the impact they can have. You guys, obviously, I follow both of you on social media, and folks, if you don't follow both of them, you should. But I was saying before we hit record that Bradlee, you had shared an interview you were a part of recently, and you talked about this philosophy that you and Melissa have adopted as a married couple. By the way, probably my favorite married couple on the planet.
Thank you.
And I'm not even gonna talk about what it is. I'm just gonna set it up with, it's a big change in how you guys view the world, and obviously the ripple effects of you guys making this transition to this different philosophy, this different perspective, is making a difference for you guys. So I'll let you talk about what that perspective is and kind of some of the ripple effects.
Well, for the last couple of years, as you've mentioned, I've been doing educational speaking. And when I speak to high school students in assemblies, a big portion of that is growth mindset and, that grit and determination in getting through the difficult times. And so one of those elements that I talked about, but realized we weren't fully embracing, even though I was telling people to do the very thing, which is we kind of embrace it now, is why not? It's just that philosophy of why not? And when this opportunity to work with the Bananas came up, we realized it was not possible to have one foot in education and one foot in Banana Land. And it kind of took us back to another quote from a friend of ours, John Paul Gonzalez, of going all in.
Mhm.
And if we were going to make this successful, to see where being a DJ for the Savannah Bananas could go and what opportunities that could open up, as well as just the joy that I have in doing it. We had to go all in. And in making that decision, we just said, why not? Let's live a life of asking or saying why not, rather than later on looking back with regret and asking what if. And that's really where it came from.
I kind of like to think about when Banana Ball came into our lives, it was like teachers, we definitely have second jobs. It's not a secret. People know when teachers have second, sometimes third jobs. And so when this opportunity came, I think in our head, maybe more my head, I thought, oh, this will just be something fun for Brad to do in the summer once in a while on a weekend. And when it became well, not a what if it is a why not? Actually, you got invited to go to this game, to go, okay, let's make this happen. Because what if you didn't go and then you're questioning and regretting it? But I said, why not? Just go. And then you can have fun. And then you're like, I didn't regret not having that opportunity. And so that was a big thing that I think, and we started talking about it this year more and more about, well, why not do this? Why not try this instead? Or instead of, what if I made a garden in the corner of my house in the yard? Well, why not just do it? Because if it fails, then okay, at least you knew before it was gone and had that opportunity. So that's kind of why we started to change how we even ask questions to each other. And even like, not just like even our lives of what we're going to do every day, but even some of the other things we say, well, why not? We're going to miss those opportunities and more,
Let's take the top off the Jeep and go for a drive to
Yes.
the Garden of the Gods.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? Why not? And don't think the thing is, well, what if it rains? Well, what if it rains? Who cares? But at least you did took the opportunity, and then you made a memory, and making memories is what's going to last longer than the non things that you can buy and purchase in life. It's just and that's a lot of things too, is these memories we're making and the relationships we're building with all of the people. I mean, yes, Brad works with a lot of these individuals and actually has gotten to know them really well. And I get those opportunities every once in a while to go too, and starting to build those relationships. And I mean, to even remember my name is something that I'm just like, wow, it's just a cool thing. Not, oh, you're the DJ's wife. We joke about that too. You're just the DJ's wife. I'm not just the DJ's wife, but
And that's been really special. I think it also helped lead us towards making that decision is when we saw the leadership that exists at Fans First Entertainment, the culture and the climate of the teams. To have Melissa come back, to a game, she went to one in Anaheim. And a couple months later would go to another game, but to have players on the team, see her and be able to approach her and say, hey, Melissa, it's good to see you again. Having that recognition where they know her and they know that she matters to me. So if she matters to me and they matter to me, that they want to make that connection as well. And that's just like that made it where I'm like, wow, I really am I'm someplace special.
Yeah.
That team, the players, the staff, they genuinely care about people, not just the fans, the people they work with, the people that they are in different departments. They just care. And that really helped make that decision, I think, a lot easier.
I think that's huge. And, we had this conversation last night, but it wasn't just about jumping out to take this other job. This was, you found something that not only spoke to your heart, but spoke to you at your core, both of you. And I have to say this too before I let it get away, and then I want to come back. The why not philosophy, listening to you guys talk about it, you've seen a couple of clips. I am in a way surprised that you didn't adopt that earlier, because to me,
right?
Because, I mean, again, I've known you for a long time, both of you. And why not was your philosophy in the classroom when we worked together at Rock Springs High. I mean, I remember you specifically several times coming to me and say, hey, I'm going to try something. I'm going to try something, and it may stink, but can you come in and just give me a little feedback?
Yeah.
And that was always why not?
Yeah.
Interviews day. You just mentioned interviews day.
Mhm.
That was a why not?
Absolutely.
Why not try?
I don't even think, I think that exact same thing, like how we've been doing that for such a long time in our relationship and just in anything we've worked at. And I don't think we ever thought of it as a coining of a phrase until
we lived it.
clicked.
We just didn't put it.
It didn't click.
Right.
The name behind it.
It's kind of like when we started the DJ business, Brad. I mean, a little bit back did we have friends who asked us to DJ weddings just for the music? Absolutely. And then Brad took the opportunity and had one, and then he did it by himself. And then I went with him one time, and I probably said, why are you doing this on your own? What can we do this better? And so how we do that, I mean, we're still running this business on even being gone and everything with Brad on traveling the road. We're still running a business. We're still having weddings. We have a great team of people who we work with. And we said, why not do something different and add an MC? And we've done, and that's what makes us different. And I said, why don't I join you? Like, it wasn't just him, and we decided, let's make this work. But I don't know why we never coined it until in the last 4 months, 5 months or something. It just clicked.
It's very fitting for the two of you.
Yeah.
I mean, it really truly is. It's what I've seen in you guys for a long time. I want to come back to kind of that culture piece that you were talking about with the Bananas, and really, I mean, it starts with Jesse Cole at the top. You and I, not this summer, we're wrapping up the previous, did a presentation at Jocelyn's Renaissance, and we talked about the 11 rules of banana ball culture. Kind of replicated that presentation last night, which Melissa did a way better job than I did. I know that. Without digging into all 11, and you can tell us why there's 11.
10 is boring.
So there you go. 10 is boring. That's why they have 11.
Jesse Cole.
Yeah, love it. And if you haven't read Jesse Cole's book, oh my gosh, it's so good. Goodness. I don't know if I told you, but before we did that presentation, I got the Audible and listened to it over like 2 days just so I was prepared for what we did. But anyway, there are these 11 principles of culture in banana ball. Without going into all 11, maybe each of you pick your favorite and talk about how not only that resonates with you, but then also maybe connect that to leadership. It doesn't have to be education. It can be, but I don't know. I don't think it's a big ask. Give me one each.
I say I'll make sure I have my number right. So I'm pulling it up for myself right now. But I want to say I think mine is number 6, if I remember right, if that's
okay.
Number 6 is, and I want to pull it, make sure I have it. See, world of technology, you can just pull up things. But I want to say it was, nope, that's not it. It was in 6. That's constantly curious.
It's a great one too.
Yeah.
Mine was about the accountability. So I have to find, maybe that is the one. You go with yours for a second while I figure mine out. Maybe it is 6.
So for me, it's number 11, always plus the experience. And that's something that being able to work with a young professor who is the on-field announcer and host for the Savannah Bananas, and obviously coming from Jesse Cole as well. But being able to work with the two of them and seeing that constant reminder to everybody, whether you are a player, you're the Bananas or the Beefy Boys or any of the dance teams, or you're in tickets, or every organization, every department is finding ways to plus the experience for the fans. Jesse often reminds us it's somebody's first game. So what are we doing? We know it's going to be special simply because they're there. They're having fun watching the banana ball game. But beyond that, what are you doing to make it a better interaction for them? How do we go to the farthest ends of the stadium, the people that are so far away from home plate that they think they aren't going to have an experience of connecting with somebody on the team or somebody in entertainment? How do we reach them? And what do we do to make their experience special? And that constant reminder keeps in the forefront of your minds that you're always able to do something. We often think, well, who am I? I'm just, I'm just the DJ. Okay, well, did I find somebody that had posted, something about their favorite song, and I know they're going to be at the game and they're out in the crowd, so I can play that song, and I may not know where they are, but I know they're hearing it. And that's my favorite song. Just little moments like that can be, created. But connections, where are those contact points that we can meet people and talk to them and just say hi? Little things like that can make a huge difference in going from a good day.
Okay, so while I like 6, I do like number 10. And 10 was uphold the highest standard. And I relate it more to the teaching world, is that how we need to keep our expectations high. I related it to in our talk last night about the non-negotiables in a classroom. Simple as when you write a sentence, it starts with a capital letter and ends with punctuation. That's a non-negotiable. We all know that's how a sentence is rewritten. And so keeping that standard of just simple, that's still not correct. You need to take that paper and fix it. And so I'm like, but at the same time, you want that high expectation because it's also going to show to a child, whether it be kindergarten or 12th grade or even into college, it's going to help them know that you expect that they can do it and they need to find that greater good in themselves. I loved how we said it last night. We said, I love you. I'm going to quote it right. You fail. Yeah. And that's a big thing is we love our students, no matter if we have a bad day. I always say we start over the day and we have the best day ever, but we love them and we want the best for them because we also don't know. Sometimes after they leave our classroom, we hope we would know where they go, but we want to make sure we got them ready. We have them ready for the next thing in their life. And I think that's my biggest part is that high expectation. I want them to be successful and believe in themselves. So I see that. And things can be hard, but they can do it. And I promise we can put capital letters and punctuation. I promise we can.
I am one who will do that. I will not let you down. So guys, our time has really flown by really quick. So I want to get to the last question I ask everybody here on the Leaning Into Leadership podcast. And then you guys can, I'll have you guys share how people can get in touch with you, get connected with you. But it's the Leaning Into Leadership podcast. So Melissa, Bradlee, how are you leaning into leadership?
So I'm part of a leadership team in my school, and we always come up with different ideas and different things we can do within the school, because it gets boring when you do the same thing over and over again. And so I want to make sure that I go in with that positive attitude and that we all will listen to each other and not deny another person's ideas and say, let's see how this can work before we actually say no, and work on that. Don't just jump to no. Let's think about this and how can we work and brainstorm before we shut somebody down. And I want to not just take that in leadership, but let's also remember that in the classroom, because sometimes what we think will work, even a kid in the classroom may have a different idea and maybe take that twist and go, oh, give me a minute and let me think about how I could fix this, because there's an opportunity for me to learn too. So.
Absolutely. I will say one of the unexpected benefits from this. Yeah, I knew going in to Banana Ball, I was going to be DJing, I was going to be playing music, I was going to be rocking the crowd. I didn't know just how much I would be learning about leadership, but you cannot be around Jesse Cole and not absorb some of those leadership lessons. And I think what I'm really just taking away is to find those opportunities to look at things differently. Look for friction points and figure out how to eliminate them. Look for the way that you can improve every experience. If you're doing something good, how do you make it better? If you're doing something better, there's still a way to even improve on that. And it's that constant pursuit, but in a way that doesn't feel constantly pressured. And that's something that has been amazing to know that the standard is there, that the expectation that I need to be at the best of my game, but yet I'm not feeling the weight and the pressure of it, that if I mess up, that I have failed or that I'm, not as good. I know that when I mess up, that the team behind me is like, all right, that one didn't work. How do we help fix it? What could you do differently? What could we do differently to make it a smoother transition? And it's such a positive and I've messed up. I've made mistakes. But at the same time, it's okay, cool. We made a mistake, but what do we learn from it? The lesson is far more important than the detriment of the mistake itself. And being able to work in that environment is awesome. So when I know someday I'm going to return to education. And when I do, how can I replicate that? How can I promote that from my teachers to be like, hey, I'm here to help you, that when we make mistakes, it's not the end all of things. It's a simple opportunity to learn. And I think just too often in this world, we view failure as the opposite of success rather than viewing it as an essential part of success. And that's what I think I want to do as a leader, is just to help facilitate that.
Love that so much. Really quick, people are, if they're not already following you, they're going to want to follow both of you. So how do they find you?
For me, on all social media at Bradlee W. Skinner. That's Bradlee with 2 E's, L-E-E. So at Bradlee W. Skinner and at DJ Phony Stark on all social media platforms.
He was brilliant about making sure everything was the same. I was not. On Facebook, it's Melissa Skinner. And then on Instagram, it's @Incredible Skinner, because, I had to throw some Disney in there somewhere with some Incredibles. And then at TikTok, it's Mrs. Mama Skinner. And that's a nickname that I got granted from students because they always called me Mama Skinner. And so we felt that it was important to maybe tie that in there. So
I love it so much. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, I really appreciate you sitting down with me and recording this episode. You bet. This has been a lot of fun. Thanks for joining me on Leaning Into Leadership.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right, folks. Awesome conversation with Melissa and Bradlee. Absolutely had a blast with them. Make sure you get down in the show notes and get connected with both of them. Now it's time for a pep talk. So I just want to go right back to the philosophy that Bradlee and Melissa have adopted and challenge you to think about leaning into that why not philosophy. So often we stop ourselves from doing things that could turn out amazing and could also turn out poorly by saying, well, but what if? We think of all the negative situations, the negative possible outcomes that could come. But when you lean into why not, you're taking on the opportunity. You're saying, hey, why not? Let's see what happens. Let's see where this goes. I think it's an incredibly powerful view. I think it's an incredibly powerful way to live your life. For me, I'm going to lean into why not. Thanks so much for joining me here on the Leaning Into Leadership podcast. As always,